y'all worried when that song started? Okay. Promise to keep it clean. Can you go to the next slide? The next one? That one. So I learned from Keisha Halls last summer to come down off the stage. So I'm not going to be on the stage, you're going to be right here. Good morning, my name is Dirk Bedford. I'm the proud principal at Meeting Street Academy in downtown Charleston. Home of the Owls, where hearts, minds, and futures come together. Now, if you'll cheer on everything, I might go over time because I'm going to be long-winded as it is. This is my crew right here. This is Meeting Street Academy staff. Go to the next one. Yesterday, we had a great time. And I talked to some of the Brentwood folks this morning, some of the Spartanburg people yesterday came to visit us. Thank you, Siobhan. We had a great time. We played some games. You see Jenga out there. We played Pictionary. We had some reunion time. We looked at what kind of characteristics, teachers that had a big impact on us, what kind of characteristics did they have? So you see the folks here on the right with their sticky notes. We talked about race. We talked about bias. You see a conversation here on the left. Next. Kayla, where's Kayla? Okay. Kayla is new to us. And if you've not yet met Kayla, you should meet Kayla. You'll recognize her because she's going to have a giant smile on her face. She lives with a smile on. She's a happy, positive, joyful person. And you'll soon find out what the rest of us have found out is that Kayla is very passionate about the mission and the work that we do. And she's a very deep thinker about the work that we do. And so right here you see Kayla. I took this picture over her shoulder. She didn't even know I took it. She just found out I took this picture. And Kayla is annotating a text. And we read a text. This is actually an NPR article on bias in preschool teachers. Next. So I think they call this talking to the text. She's writing there. I don't know if you can you go to the next one? Okay. She said, is she talking to the author or something? And she said, nah, son. So I took the picture secretly, and I went over to Katie. I said, look what Kayla just wrote on her paper. So after we were finished, I went over to her and I said, Kayla, I saw you wrote something funny on your article. She said, I wrote a lot of funny things. I said, do you mind if I share that with a couple people? And she said, yeah, go ahead. I didn't tell her I was going to share it with everybody, but I thought it was pretty funny. Next. Okay, so you're doing a good job of this. Know this about me. I'm an extrovert, and I draw my energy from people. And so if I stand here and I talk to you for 30 minutes or 50 minutes, make sure that's okay. If you don't interact with me, then it's going to drain my energy. But if you interact with me, it will give me energy. So I don't have cards to pass out, or we're not going to do a think, pair, share, or any of that stuff. But if you hear something you agree with, then you can give me the me too, or the thumbs up, or you can holler out what he said, or amen. If you hear something you don't like, you can boo, you can hiss, you thumbs down, something like that. Okay? Ground rules. Or nah, son, you can say that. So I'm the proud principal of Meeting Street Academy, and I'm proud to live in South Carolina, where we have places like this, next, and this. I would like to tell you I took that from my backyard, but I definitely don't have that much grass, so it's beautiful. We live in an amazing, incredible state. Next. But there's some things in our state that aren't incredible. And I think everybody knows this, but it's worth saying it again. U.S. News and World Report issued their first ever best states ranking. And they looked at the economic conditions in the state, they looked at livability, they looked at education. And I'm a little bit older now, but when I was younger, I sort of fashioned myself a Renaissance man. You know, I did a lot of different things. And Shelly, don't tell them the truth. I tried to teach myself how to play guitar. I was into politics. I read lots of books, fiction books, nonfiction books. As I get older, I've got no Renaissance in me. I only care about two things. What Amy said, I care about my family, and I care about education. So when I see the best states ranking, I don't care what the economic conditions in Nevada are. I don't care about the livability of Texas. I want to know about education. And so you look at this map, you see South Carolina is red. That means we ranked 41 to 50. So when I saw this, well, let's go to the next one. So I wanted to see, like, where in the bottom 10 do we rank? Next. I put an arrow there in case you're going to see it. We are number 50. So there's not a single state in our country that does a worse job of educating its children than us, than our state. The state that we all live in. This is our state. You can't find a state below us. So I saw this, and those of you that know me know I like Twitter. And I was with some of you, we were in Nashville at this time, remember? And I tweeted this out, number 50. I think I said something like, I have to be better, my team has to be better. I mean, this random dude, Willie, he hit me back and said, I don't even know this guy, he hit me back and said, get yourself an education and look at how these rankings are calculated. So, I mean, of course I said, thanks for the feedback. And if you go on my Twitter feed, you'll see that. Thanks for the feedback. But I'm not okay with this. But I did check the rankings. Next. I said, are you okay with this? With myself in the mirror. Are you okay with this? I ask you. Are you okay with us being number 50 in the country? No. Okay, thank you, Taylor. Next. Now let's look at ACT. So this is a sort of a map of the United States. You can orient yourself to it. You see South Carolina is in one of the lightest colors there. It means we average around 18 or 19. I took Willie's advice. Let me see how these scores are calculated. And let's look at ACT. Now, there are 20 states in our country that require every high school student to take the ACT. And out of the 20 states, we're number 19. Now, our state is trying to change that because these numbers look bad for us. So they're trying to change and give you options. We're 19 out of 20. Next. This is what being number 50 in the country looks like. In English, 74% of white students are college ready. In English, 12.6% of black students are college ready. That means 3 out of 4. 6 out of 8 white students in South Carolina are college ready. 1 out of 8 black students in South Carolina is ready. In math, thank you. In math, 10 out of 20 white students are ready. In math, 1 out of 20 black students is ready. Next. Are you okay with that? No. Me either. Next. All right, so let's go down younger. Surely it gets better. This is from NAEP. This is a national assessment that's given in every state. It's the one real indicator we have across the country of how we're doing. You see 8th grade reading. SREB, that's the Southern Regional Education Board. That's where I got this from. So that's a conglomerate of southern states. 8th grade reading, 38% of white students, 11% of black students. 4th grade reading, 46-15. Next. Now, just like President Trump, I'm a big fan of Frederick Douglass. He said, not President Trump, Frederick Douglass, he said, once you learn to read, you will be forever free. once you learn to read, you will be forever free. With those kind of results, we have large groups of students in our state who are not free. Next. Here's a summary. We're 50th. We're in the bottom 10 for NAEP. We rank 19 out of 20 states that require the ACT. I believe that that's not okay. Amen. Thank you. I ask you next, do you believe? No. Thank you. Next. Okay, these are our fifth grade kids that just graduated, and some of the adults in their lives that helped them get to that point. I should say, like, side note, I know that I'm supposed to call them students, or I'm supposed to call them scholars. They're fifth grade scholars. And if Jean McDowell were here, she would tell me that kids are baby goats. And they're not goats, they're children. And I have children. Della and Xander are probably home sleeping still right now. Right, Shelly? Probably home sleeping. I don't call them children. They're not my children. They're not my students. They're my kids because I love them. And these are my kids. These are my little owls. These are my kids. So if I call them my kids, you're going to have to excuse me. Next. So in all that despair, we know where our state is. We know. There's some hope. In this room, the kids that go to our schools, there's a different story for them. Thank you. Our kids are scoring at the 68th percentile in reading. We're just getting started. He's 71st percentile in math. Next. So we're high performing. But look what else. Our kids are growing at 1.27 times the rate kids across the country are growing. In reading, it's even better in math. 1.4. Next. So if you look at our schools, our overall performance, our schools are at the 90th percentile in reading. Our schools are at the 92nd percentile in math. That's a whole different picture than in the rest of our state. Next. Now, there's some people that want to doubt what we do. They want to warn their friends, beware this miracle that they talked about on Meeting Street. Yeah, me too. I mean, there's a lot to unpack here. I'll try to keep it short. Let's look at this. This means two things. One, if Meeting Street does achieve some sort of high-flying status, it will be an extremely rare company. And thus, outliers being Meeting Street, prove virtually nothing about what most schools can and should accomplish. I will say two things. One, it ain't no if to it. Meeting Street Schools is achieving some sort of high-flying status. And when he says outliers prove nothing about what most schools can and should accomplish, next, I say, nah, son. It proves the opposite. It proves what can and what should happen. Not that it can happen, that it can happen, and that it should happen. For all students, it can and it should. I believe it's not okay for us to be the 50th state and have 19 out of 20 of our kids not free. I believe that we can and should and must do something about it. We must. Next. This is one of my kids. This is Abdil. Is Kat? Where's Kat? There's Kat. Kat shared with us yesterday that Abdil represents for her one of the reasons she does the work. And there's a lot more to this picture than I could really go into right now, but Abdil's going to Charleston Catholic School next year on a full scholarship. Next. Yeah. And this here is Madison. Madison's in Watoto. She wasn't here today, but Madison's in Watoto. And Madison was accepted into the Charleston County School of the Arts. For dance. Next. This is Madison at graduation. You cannot tell me Madison is not loved. Look at that. Look at it, like cutouts. They got like baby picture, giant baby picture heads. They got the ones in the back. That's pretty amazing. And they were rowdy too, graduation. Appropriately so. Next. If Madison went to her home school, you know what? The average ACT score in her home school was 18. If you graduate high school with an 18 on your ACT, you have three options. Don't go to college, go to community college, or you could go to a college that graduates 16% of the students that attend. 16%. We talked about this yesterday and the day before. It bears repeating. If somebody goes to a school that graduates 16%, you have to defy enormous odds just to graduate. And you think of the student loan debt that students incur now when they go to college. I'm glad I'm old, because it was a lot cheaper when I went. And I still have student loan debt. What's most likely to happen is she'll go to school for 2 years, and she will drop out. And she will have $30,000. That's the average in South Carolina. She'll have $30,000 of debt, no college degree, and job prospects are right here. If she has an 18, she does not have options. She does not have options. She'd have to defy enormous odds to find some measure of success economically. Madison's not going to her home school. Thanks to Donald, thanks to that giant family she has, and thanks to this crew right here, Madison's going to the Charleston County School of the Arts. She had to audition against hundreds and hundreds of kids to get a spot, and dancing she did. The average ACT score at the School of the Arts is 27. If Madison gets a 27 on the ACT, you know what? She can go to any damn college she wants to. Next. She has a reason to celebrate. Next. Anybody know who that is? I'll take a hand on this one. Sarah, who is that? This is the actor in Power of One. Has anybody seen, it's an old movie now, I told y'all. The Power of One, that's PK. That's PK. You should watch this movie. It's so old, you can just watch it on YouTube now. I looked at it this morning. I got behind on this because I was watching part of the movie. I knew I shouldn't be. But Shelly, we should show it to the kids. We should show it to the kids tonight. PK, man, he's in South Africa. He had just a terrible beginning. His mom died, his dad died. He went to boarding school. He was tortured and abused in boarding school. He went to live with his grandfather. He couldn't really care for him, so he sort of latched onto this guy. This guy's Dirk. He's a German living in South Africa. He's a musician. His passion is gardening. And so Dirk is sort of a mentor for PK. And Dirk gives little PK some advice, and he says, the questions you seek, the answers you will find in nature. PK, he really internalizes that. Doc gets arrested because it takes place during World War II, and the Nazis are at war. The South Africans are at war with the Nazis, so he's in jail. He dies in jail. PK finds another mentor, learns to box, and he comes to like a crossroads in his life. He looks at person after person that he cares about is murdered and dies, and he's sort of at a crossroads. He's discouraged by the racial segregation and the fighting that he sees. He just doesn't know, like, what can I do? What can I do? And so he goes out into nature. He spends a couple of days in nature. And he's like in a boat, he's rowing, and he comes across a waterfall. He stares at the waterfall for a little bit, and he looks very closely at it. He comes to the realization that a waterfall begins with a single drop of water. And I believe that together we can be that waterfall. Individually, we're just a plain old drop of water. Me by myself, I'm an ordinary dude. You by yourself, seriously, you're just an ordinary person. I believe that individually we are ordinary, but together we're extraordinary. Our state, I don't believe what's happening in our state is okay. I believe we have to do something about it. And I believe that I, as an individual, can be a part of that, but only when I'm a part of a greater team. Next. So I'm going to leave you with this. There's a couple of things I want you to remember. Always remember. Never forget. Next. What you give is what you get. Next. Give love. Thank you.